Overcompression is a myth. Kind of. Hey, it's Joe from Home Studio Corner. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can compress the snot out of things, and if you do this one thing correctly, you can avoid having that overcompressed sound. Let's take a listen to this raw vocal. This is from the song that I've been talking about in my last few videos. This is the raw vocal by itself, no processing. Take a listen.
All alone is what I always wanted.
Pretty consistent sound. I'm going to compress it because I like compressing lead vocals, and you should too. So I've pulled up a compressor, and let me just dial in compression like you typically think. Let's go for overcompress. I'm going to just jerk the ratio all the way up, pull the threshold down until there's tons of compression, and then do the makeup gain so it's at roughly the same volume as it was before. Ready, set, go.
All alone is what I always wanted. But now these walls are acting awfully haunted. I scream and shout, but there's no one left.
Okay, so we've got those little effects. I wasn't supposed to play that far. Okay, so here's the vocal without the compression.
All alone.
Here's with the compression.
All alone is what I always wanted.
So we've got 25 dB of gain reduction in spots. It's easy to just come down on the side of, this is overcompressed. Yes and no. Vocals a lot of times respond really well to a heavy dose of compression, but can you spot what the problem is? If you think the problem is here on the gain reduction meter, you would be incorrect. The problem is over here to the right, specifically right here. These two knobs are the secret sauce when it comes to compressing anything. If you fear overcompressing things, yes, you want to make sure your threshold and ratio are correct, but these actually aren't as important as these. Attack and release make all the difference in the world. So listen to what happens when I'm going to leave the threshold and ratio alone. I might adjust it a little bit. I'm going to adjust the attack and release knobs up. So instead of 1 millisecond for both, I'm going to increase the attack to something like 10 to 15 and the release up to maybe 30 or 40 milliseconds. Then I'll bring the threshold down a little bit so we have roughly the same amount of gain reduction happening, and we'll compare the two. So to do that, I'm going to leave this one in place, and I'll copy this plugin down in the second slot, and we'll dial it in there, and then we can compare between the two. All right, so I'll start hitting play. You'll hear the overcompressed quote-unquote sound. I'll make some adjustments. We'll have the same amount of compression happening, but listen to how much better and smoother and more natural it sounds, and it's kind of the quote-unquote right compression sound. Here we go.
All alone is what I always wanted. But now these walls are acting awfully haunted. I scream and shout, but there's no one left. All alone is what I always wanted.
So can you hear the difference? That one to me, it's still very compressed. I like very compressed vocals, but it's not that crazy over-the-top sound that we had in the first one. So let's go back and listen between the two, and then I'll call it a day so you can go try this in your own stuff. Let me bypass the first one and bypass the second one. Let's listen to the first one first, okay? Here's the first one.
All alone is what I always wanted.
And here's the second one.
All alone is what I always wanted.
Can you hear how smooth the second one sounds? They're still both very compressed, and you can see they're both around almost the identical amount of gain reduction, same amount of makeup gain. All other things essentially are equal except for the attack settings. Instead of 1 millisecond attack and release, which is just really fast on both counts, I've gone to 45 attack and 60 release, which allows that compressor some room to breathe, meaning it's not clamping down at the first sound, and it's not letting go as soon as the signal falls below the threshold. It has a little bit of a ramp up and a ramp down, which allows for a smoother sound. So if you find yourself with mixes on anything, vocals, drums, anything that sound like this,
all alone This is what I always wanted.
And you like some of the stuff that's happening with the compression, but it just sounds like too much, dial the attack and release down and see what happens.
All alone. This is what I always wanted.
The beginnings and ends of phrases are a lot smoother. Now, I would probably dial that back to where there's not quite that much compression happening, but I did it with 25 dB of gain reduction to demonstrate the point that even at that excessive amount of compression, adjusting the attack and release can actually make it sound a whole lot smoother and not quite so overcompressed. So take that, go, mix, compress like crazy, but make sure you adjust the attack and release settings to make it sound good. If you like mixing tips like this and you want to know my mixing process, I've actually put it together into a PDF that you can have for free. Head over to 5stepmix.com and check it out. All right, that's it for me. Later.